The great debate: should there be a president?
But before we start to get into the video, please support us by like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that we can provide new insights and knowledge about world history. Thank you.
The question of whether there should be a president at the helm of a nation's executive branch is not merely a contemporary political debate. It is one that dates back to the founding of the United States. In 1787, during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, the framers of the U.S. Constitution grappled with the fundamental issue of executive power. They were charged with creating a new government strong enough to maintain unity and order, yet constrained enough to prevent tyranny. Central to this was the idea of a single executive leader, the President of the United States. The Philadelphia Convention, also known as the Constitutional Convention, was convened to address the inadequacies of the Articles of Confederation. Under the Articles, there was no executive branch, no president, just a loose confederation of states with a weak central government. This system had proven ineffective in managing the economic, diplomatic, and security challenges facing the fledgling republic. Delegates arrived in Philadelphia with a shared understanding that something had to change, but they were deeply divided on how to structure the new government. One of the most contentious issues was the executive branch. Should there be a single president, a committee of executives? Should the executive have veto power? How should the president be elected? These questions ignited intense debates that would shape not only the structure of the American government, but also the very concept of leadership in a democratic republic. Advocates for a single executive, including Alexander Hamilton and James Madison, argued that unity in the executive would promote decisiveness, accountability, and efficiency. Hamilton, in particular, feared the dangers of a weak executive, drawing lessons from the inefficacies of the Articles of Confederation. He argued in the Federalist Papers that a single executive would be more easily held accountable by the public and the other branches of government. A plural executive, on the other hand, could lead to paralysis, infighting, and a diffusion of responsibility. Opponents of a strong, singular executive worried about the emergence of a new form of monarchy. Memories of King George III were still fresh in the minds of many delegates. They feared that investing too much power in one individual would pave the way for tyranny. Some delegates proposed a council-style executive or a system with limited, rotating leadership. Others suggested that Congress should select the executive, fearing that a popular vote might be too easily swayed by demagoguery or regional imbalances. Compromise was key to the convention's success. The resulting structure of the presidency in the U.S. Constitution reflected a careful balancing act. The president would be a single individual, elected for a term of 4 years, with powers that were both defined and checked by the other branches of government. The Electoral College was created as a compromise between direct popular election and selection by Congress. The president would have the power to veto legislation, appoint judges and ambassadors, and serve as commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But Congress retained the power to override vetoes, approve appointments, and declare war. This structure has proven remarkably durable. Yet, the debate over the necessity and structure of the presidency has never truly ended. Over the centuries, critics have questioned whether the presidency grants too much power to one individual. The modern American president commands vast resources, exercises significant influence over domestic and foreign policy, and is often seen as the face of the nation. Some argue that this concentration of power is dangerous, especially in times of crisis when executive actions may bypass legislative oversight. Moreover, the evolution of mass media and technology has transformed the presidency into a highly visible and often personality-driven office. The founders could not have anticipated the rise of the 24-hour news cycle, social media, and the global stage on which modern presidents operate. These developments have amplified the influence of individual presidents and intensified the scrutiny they face. Despite these concerns, many defenders of the presidential system point to its advantages. A single executive can respond swiftly in times of crisis, coordinate complex government actions, and represent the nation with a unified voice. The system of checks and balances, they argue, provides sufficient safeguards against the abuse of power. Furthermore, regular elections ensure that presidents remain accountable to the electorate. Some scholars and political reformers, however, have proposed alternatives. Parliamentary systems, where the executive is drawn from the legislative branch and is subject to more immediate political accountability, are often cited as more stable and less prone to executive overreach. Others have suggested modifications to the US system, such as reducing the powers of the presidency, strengthening congressional authority, or reforming the Electoral College. These debates reflect broader questions about the nature of leadership, democracy, and governance. Should a democratic nation vest significant power in a single individual? Can institutional checks truly prevent the rise of authoritarianism? What is the optimal balance between efficiency and accountability in government? The framers of the Constitution did not provide definitive answers to these questions. Instead, they offered a framework, a living document capable of adaptation and reinterpretation. The presidency, as an institution, has evolved far beyond what the delegates in Philadelphia imagined. Yet the foundational debates of 1787 continue to resonate in contemporary political discourse. As citizens, it is our responsibility to engage with these questions. The legitimacy and effectiveness of the presidency depend not only on constitutional design but also on civic participation, informed debate, and the ongoing commitment to democratic principles. Whether one supports a strong presidency or favors greater diffusion of power, the conversation must remain grounded in history, guided by reason, and open to the possibilities of reform. In recent years, increasing political polarization has reignited questions about the scope and function of the presidency. Controversies surrounding executive orders, emergency powers, and the use of veto authority have highlighted the tensions embedded in the constitutional design. As partisanship deepens and trust in government institutions declines, the president is often seen simultaneously as a unifying symbol and a divisive figure. This paradox underscores the complexity of the office and the ongoing relevance of the original debate from 1787. In conclusion, the question, should there be a president, is not merely a theoretical exercise. It is a vital inquiry into how we are governed and by whom. The legacy of the Philadelphia Convention reminds us that the structures of power are not immutable. They are choices made by people, subject to change as societies evolve. In revisiting this great debate, we not only honor the intellectual rigor of the founders, but also reaffirm our role in shaping the future of democratic governance.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you like videos like this. Thank you.